What's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing something a bit different. It's going to be more of an informative type of, not even really a story time. It's sort of like a story time, but I just don't really even know where I would put it in my playlists and everything. Like it's sort of a story time, but sort of not really. So I'm just going to put it in the random section. But anyway, so basically, if you guys didn't know, like I wouldn't really call it like addiction or anything because it was with caffeine. Like I used to have, let's say, like a bad relationship with caffeine is sort of how it would go because I didn't ever really consider myself quote unquote addicted to caffeine because it's sort of one of those things where you're like mentally with it. It's mentally addicted, I guess, and I never even said that at all. Like if anything, it was just a sort of a caffeine problem because people also consider themselves mentally addicted to cigarettes, but I mean I've seen people have way worse withdrawal and everything with that. So basically, essentially, caffeine has sort of been part of my life for a very long time, and I think I remember the first time I ever tried caffeine was when I was 10, and I think my parents gave me a Coca Cola and it had caffeine, and it wasn't even anything like I'm hooked, because with that, it was just sort of different. With Coca Cola and Pepsi and Mountain Dew and everything, those have very minuscule amounts of caffeine compared to like energy drinks and coffee, where with those, Mountain Dew has like 50, Pepsi has like 40, Coke has like 39 milligrams or something along those lines. It's just a very small amount to the point where it wouldn't even really keep you up or anything like that. Um, and I mean, when I was maybe 7, actually, it was probably the first time it was getting geeked off a Sunkist. It was only because I had like 4 of them, so it was actually a caffeine thing. But then it was just like a very long time before I had another and everything. So I would just consider that different and all that. With I guess when I sort of really had like a true drink that might make you actually feel the caffeine if you just had one. But I never really did. Like I never really felt that kind of thing or anything like that. But where it really started to become almost a problem for me was in school, oddly enough. Because for school, if you guys didn't know, what they would do was, I don't know if it's like this every school, but for my high school, how it was, and literally in middle school, they didn't even allow that kind of thing. Like you couldn't even buy sodas in middle school. Like all they had available for drinks was white milk, chocolate milk, and I think every once in a while they might have sold juice, but I don't really remember. Um, and they had these like juice drinks. That was one thing they would sell and everything like that. And they didn't even have sodas at all. But then when I went to high school, they had diet sodas and everything, which are fucking disgusting in my opinion. They taste really gross. But I mean, if you like diet sodas, I'm not gonna make fun of you for drinking them. Each their own, I guess. But in high school, they had these Kickstart drinks, which had about as much caffeine as a cup of coffee, which is like anywhere between like 85 and 100. I've heard it like depends how strong you make your coffee or how big of a cup. Like your coffee could have like 1,000. It depends. Like if you put in a fucking gallon, it could have that much. Like I'm just saying, that's usually what I've seen, like small to medium sized cups and everything. But essentially, I think the Kickstarts had about 90 milligrams, and it was never really a problem with money either for that. Like I never was like rock bottom broke or anything, or I never tried to steal or like an energy drink from a store, or never took money from anybody I knew or anything like that because the cheapest energy drinks, even if I was trying to save money, like at school they were 99 cents, and like the cheapest energy drink on the market for at least where I lived in Illinois and everything, they were 99 cents was the cheapest. They were like Venom Energy, and they weren't that amazing, but I mean, like, hey, when I was at that point where I just wanted caffeine, I didn't really even care what it tasted like, I guess. But essentially, what I started using energy drinks to kickstarts in school, mainly just because everybody was saying they tasted delicious and everything, which they were pretty good. I really liked the black cherry and the red cherry kind. Those were really good. Or it was like fruit punch, actually. Sorry, it was red cherry. It was black cherry and fruit punch. Those were some of my favorites, and I would drink them and everything. And um, they would just sort of help me through my day at school and everything. Like, cause you wake up at 6 in the fucking morning, you're super tired and everything. Especially if you couldn't sleep much the night before, which sometimes happened. You were super tired and everything. Those just kind of, like helped you wake up a little bit, and they would help me get me through my day, and just leave it so that I didn't look like I was about to pass out on my desk in school and all that. So then, pretty much after that, like, there was times when people, again, like, it's one of those things where I guess you could say withdrawal with caffeine and everything. But yeah, there were times when, people would end up buying the Kickstarts. They would get to all of them before I did and stuff. Like, what essentially would happen was usually I just buy a Kickstart either during lunchtime or like first thing in the morning, because sometimes I would get there like 10-15 minutes before my class started, so I'd have time to like buy a breakfast and eat it, or like buy a Kickstart and drink it, or whatever the hell. I'd have a little bit of time to do that, so then I would and all that. And there were times when you would just get there and you wouldn't have enough time to buy one, or like somebody already bought them all or stuff. They only had a certain amount, they only had like 30 or something at a time. So sometimes a lot of people would just get them and everything. And essentially, what happened was if I didn't get them, like quote unquote withdrawal and everything, um, it would probably just be the same thing with that. It wasn't really even much of withdrawal or anything like that. So, what would actually happen was just, I guess, your body sort of would get used to having caffeine. And what would happen to me, it might be different for other people, is I would have a bit of a headache, like, and I would just have like a slight bit of a headache, and sometimes it would just be kind of a slight feeling, and sometimes it'd be like a really annoying headache where I was just like, okay, I'll fucking find someone to give me their Kickstart or some shit just so that I don't feel like this anymore and everything. And some of the time I would get tired, just a little bit tired, like more tired than usual, just because what they do is they wake you up and everything. So you would end up feeling a little more tired if you didn't have them. So that was sometimes what would happen to me when I didn't have them. And yeah, usually I was just able to get like a Kickstart drink or something like the next day. So it wasn't even like I didn't even really realize how long I would have had those adverse effects and everything. And sometimes I heard some people would get irritable and everything, and I never really got irritable to like, I was like pissed the fuck off or something. I just sometimes might have gotten like slightly annoyed at somebody or something like that, but that was kind of all that there was for that. But then I think after a while, like I started, the Kickstarts didn't even really do much to me anymore sometimes, or like it would sometimes last for like an hour and then it would just go away or something like that. So then I was just like thinking like, what do I do and everything. So then that was when I found out about Monster and everything. And Monster was a lot stronger than Kickstarts. Monster had 160 or like 220 or something. It depends what size you buy. Like the Mega Monsters have more versus the 20 ounces or the 16 ounces or however much the freaking cans are. I don't even remember. It's been so long since I've drank them, I don't even remember. But then I started using those and everything. Like then after a while, what happened was like Monster just did the same thing. After a while, Monster just didn't work, and then Bang Energy was what I went to, which I'm pretty sure is the strongest one on the market. No, wait, hold on. Actually, before that, I started doing 5 Hour Energy, just because sometimes it was just a little bit annoying. Where sometimes like some of the energy drinks, after a while, they had a bit of an acquired taste. Like when I first tried Monster and Rockstar, I thought they were gross. But then after drinking them more, like they tasted better and everything for me. But I just sometimes, it was kind of annoying because sometimes I didn't even want to like drink a whole drink. Like I didn't even always like the beverages all that much. Just sometimes I was just like, okay, I just want my fucking caffeine. So there were times when I would just end up wanting to get it faster, and then 5 Hour Energy was kind of the thing for me and everything. So for a while, I was just having 5 Hour Energy and everything, and those have about 250 milligrams of caffeine, and it's literally like this big of a bottle. It's like freaking 2 ounces or something like that. You just drink it, and then that's it. Like you can finish it in literally like a fucking sip. Like sometimes I didn't even taste it or anything. And so yeah, that was pretty nice for me. And then there were, I think I upgraded to Bang Energy and stuff, and those are pretty crazy. Those um, have about as much caffeine as 3 cups of coffee, so that is definitely a lot. And I believe at one point, like, I didn't even know that you had to be 18, but like there were times when I would literally get carded at my local grocery store, and everything, because they had said like you have to be 18 years old to buy these and everything. I was like, okay, I didn't know. So it was just kind of weird. Some stores cared, some didn't. It wasn't like beer or something where you could get fucked up and crash a car. So it was just completely different. But I mean, sometimes it was like that and everything. Sometimes it wasn't, just depending which store you went to. And yeah, Bang was pretty great for me for a while, because it was pretty strong and everything, and it probably affected me the most. I'd have the most energy for a while, but then there were times when just the caffeine. After a while, I just didn't even like it, because you know how it went with, after I was out of school and everything, I was still drinking them and all that. And just for a while, there were just points where I didn't even need or feel like I wanted to have an energy drink, because I didn't have to, get anything done. Because, when I was in school and everything, I had to get through my school day and everything. That was sort of why I started drinking them. And then after a while, I didn't start. There was like a fly over here, and after a while, I just didn't even feel like I needed to get anything done. So I was just like, okay, I guess I'm sort of just drinking them to get rid of the headache that I would get and everything. And it would just be annoying sometimes, because I mean, like, I didn't even want to feel like I wanted to stay up for pretty late and stuff. Sometimes they would make me stay up for, I don't know, 8, 9 hours. Sometimes, like, people say it doesn't affect them as long, but I mean, that was how long it affected me for and everything. And it was like that for a while. And then I believe there was a period where I stopped drinking energy drinks entirely for months. I don't even remember. It was like a few months I quit drinking them. And then after a while, I just decided, okay, I'm gonna go buy myself a Bang Energy, which was a very bad idea and everything, because essentially what happened was it ended up being way stronger than I thought it was going to be, because my tolerance to caffeine, it used to be, move the camera, it used to be like freaking up here. Now it was like all the way down here. So essentially, like, the Bang Energy, it felt like freaking crack. I don't know what crack's like, but I felt like it was way crazier and gave me way more energy than I needed and everything. And it just, at points, like, I was literally like twitching in my chair. I just felt uncomfortable with it and everything, and it just made me feel weird and everything. And like, I didn't even feel like caffeinated or anything. I felt like I had way too much energy, and it was just really annoying and everything. And like, I was talking really loudly at points, and sometimes, like, and all that, and it would just do that to me. And the scariest part was, I remember at one point I was sitting there, and it felt like my hand was just going like this. It was like shaking, and it felt like it was vibrating. Like, it felt like, I don't know, cell phone or an Xbox controller or something. It just felt like it was on top of it. It felt like it was vibrating. It was the weirdest, creepiest feeling I'd ever had. And yeah, I didn't like it at all. And just after a while, like, my heart, it literally was like, beating super fast, and I thought it felt like it was gonna pop at one point. I was like, geez, okay, like, I'm not gonna freaking drink energy drinks again for a while after this and everything. So yeah, I guess from that point, then what I did was, like, after I took my break, I just sort of did the same thing. I just sort of, like, slowly started with the weaker ones, going up to the stronger ones and everything. And then there was a point where I remember, like, I think my caffeine tolerance was so screwed and so high, and I had just drinking so much caffeine that I just meant, like, I could barely even feel it at all. Like, I remember once I drank 2 Bang Energies, which has 600 milligrams of caffeine. That could fucking kill a person, honestly. Like, I mean, I'm surprised that I'm here sitting here today and everything. Like, I remember I just couldn't even really feel it or anything and all that. And it was just, yeah, not that fun or anything like that. And yeah, nowadays I don't really drink caffeine at all. Like, I try to even avoid sodas with it in there, which kind of sucks, because I'll always have to be like, oh, one of my favorite sodas, Pepsi, they have a caffeine-free version, so that's good. I also really like to drink Mountain Dew, which they don't have a caffeine-free version, so that kind of fucking sucks. Like, I'm like Boogie 2988 over here. Where's my Mountain Dew? And everything. I can't even have Mountain Dew these days, so that kind of sucks. But yeah, that is pretty much how it went and everything. Like just my story about like caffeine and everything, and just what happened with if I had like any adverse effects from it. And I've never really been addicted to anything else, so don't expect these to be. And even I say addicted loosely because I was never like ran out of money and was like selling my body on the street or some shit like freaking meth heads do. I was never doing anything like that. So don't expect these to be regular. Like I'm not going to be telling stories about like cigarettes or something like that. I've never even tried cigarettes. So it's just going to be this is sort of like a one time thing. Just thought you guys might find this video kind of interesting. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.